The sun was just rising over the small village when Grace sat quietly on the front steps of her home, her little hands wrapped around her knees. She stared at the horizon, where the orange light touched the tops of the palm trees. She should have felt the beauty of the morning, but her heart was heavy. Today was the day her father was bringing home his new wife. It had been 2 years since Grace's mother passed away. Those 2 years had been lonely ones. Her father loved her, but he was often busy in the fields. Grace took care of herself most days, cooking simple meals, sweeping the house, and talking to her mother's picture whenever she felt sad. When her father announced he would remarry, Grace's heart filled with both hope and fear. Hope, because maybe she would have a mother again. Fear, because she didn't know what this new woman would be like. That morning, Grace's father arrived with his new wife, Madame Sarah. She was tall, with smooth skin, neatly tied headscarf, and a serious expression. At first, she smiled at Grace. "Ah, you must be Grace. Such a pretty girl," she said. Her voice was sweet, but there was something in her eyes Grace could not understand. At first, everything seemed fine. Madame Sarah cooked tasty meals and spoke politely, but slowly, things began to change. One evening, as Grace was washing plates, Madame Sarah said sharply, "Why are you so slow? Didn't your mother teach you anything?" Grace froze. The mention of her mother hurt like a sharp stone. She nodded silently and tried to wash faster. Over the next few weeks, Madame Sarah began to give Grace more and more chores. She swept the compound, fetched water from the stream, pounded yam, washed clothes, and even cleaned the goat pen. Her father didn't notice. Whenever he was home, Madame Sarah acted sweetly, serving him food with a smile. But when he left, her face changed. "Lazy girl," she would say. "You eat my food, live in my house, but you don't work enough." Sometimes she even took Grace's food and gave her only a small portion of soup with no meat. Grace grew thinner, but she said nothing to her father. She didn't want him to worry. One rainy afternoon, Grace was sent to the forest to gather firewood. The path was muddy, her feet slipped, and the bundle of wood was heavy. As she walked back, tired and wet, she saw her father walking toward the village. He smiled when he saw her. "Grace, you're working hard. I'm proud of you." Grace's heart swelled at his words, but Madame Sarah, who was standing nearby, frowned. She didn't like that Grace received any praise. That night, Madame Sarah whispered to herself, "I must make sure this girl does not take my place." The next morning, she gave Grace a task. "Go to the deep forest and fetch a special plant for my medicine. It grows near the big river. Don't come back until you find it." Ada was afraid. The deep forest was far, and she had never gone there alone. But she obeyed. She walked for hours. The trees grew taller. The path became narrow, and strange bird calls echoed around her. She finally reached a big river, but she couldn't find the plant Madame Sarah described. As Grace searched, she heard a soft voice. "Little girl, why are you here all alone?" She turned and saw an old woman sitting on a rock. Her hair was white, like cotton, and her eyes were gentle. Grace explained everything. The old woman listened quietly, then nodded. "Your stepmother is testing you. The plant she sent you for does not exist. But do not be afraid. Here, take this small calabash. Do not open it until you reach home. When you open it, something good will happen to you." Grace thanked the old woman and began her journey back. When she reached home, Madame Sarah was waiting with an angry look. "Where is the plant?" Grace held up the calabash. "I did not find the plant, but an old woman gave me this." Madame Sarah laughed. "You are useless. Even a simple task you cannot do." She snatched the calabash from Grace's hand and opened it. To everyone's surprise, beautiful jewels, gold coins, and shiny beads poured out. The whole compound sparkled. Grace's father came running. "What is this?" Grace explained how she met the old woman. Her father hugged her. "You have been blessed because of your kindness." Madame Sarah's eyes widened. Greed burned in her heart. She wanted more of the treasure for herself. The next day, she called her own daughter a blessing from her previous marriage. "Go to the big river and look for the old woman. Be polite, and she will give you a calabash. Blessing was proud and spoiled. She didn't like walking far, but her mother promised her even more jewels. When Blessing reached the river, the old woman was there again. "Little girl, why are you here?" she asked kindly. Blessing tossed her head. "I want a calabash of treasure, like the one you gave Grace. Give it to me quickly." The old woman frowned. "Treasure comes to those with a pure heart. But if you're greedy," she sighed and handed Blessing a calabash. "Open this when you reach home." Blessing ran back, eager. When she arrived, Madame Sarah grabbed the calabash and opened it. Instead of gold and jewels, a swarm of angry bees flew out. They chased Blessing and Madame Sarah around the compound. The neighbors laughed as they ran screaming. Grace's father was angry when he learned what happened. He scolded Madame Sarah for her wickedness and greed. From that day, he watched closely how she treated Grace. Over time, Madame Sarah realized her tricks no longer worked. The villagers began to respect Grace for her kindness and patience. Her father's love for her grew even stronger. And as for Grace, she never stopped being gentle, even to her stepmother. She believed her mother's word, kindness is like a seed. It will always grow. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.